Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital Friday, August 9 recap. Drew and Willow trapped in elevator. Alexis warns Sonny not to kill Ava. General Hospital, GH, spoilers recap for Friday, August 9 reveals that Michael Corinthos, Chadwell, had a working lunch with Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, at the Metro Court, where he gave the green light on her request for Crimson, and thanked her for everything she'd done for Willow Corinthos, Caitlin McMullen. Michael also praised Drew Quartermain, Cameron Matheson, for hooking Willow up with her spokesperson gig, but Nina acted like Drew needed to start focusing on his campaign instead of the new Tomorrow Institute. Meanwhile, Drew joined Willow on the Metro Court elevator, which got stuck and led to some awkwardness. Willow seemed uncomfortable as Drew took off his jacket while they waited for the elevator to be repaired. Drew also offered updates on the new Tomorrow Institute, wanting them to take a fundraising trip to Los Angeles. Although Drew talked about the magical villa in Malibu and played it up as something great, a nervous Willow blurted out that she couldn't go. Willow acted like she was busy with the kids and made excuses. But Drew suspected he was the reason she was turning down the trip and offered to skip it instead. Drew and Willow wound up having a close moment once the elevator was fixed, so Nina was suspicious when the doors opened up. Once Willow took off looking rattled, Nina pushed Drew to back off and avoid blowing up Willow's life. Drew got a phone call with a complaint from Congressman Larry McConkey, Sam Murray, next, so Nina suggested she could help with a solution and invited Drew over to her place for dinner. At GH, Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Mancy, pushed Sonny Corinthos, Morris Bernard, to make Ava Jerome, Maura West, pay so that she could never hurt anyone else. Sonny advised against thinking payback would fix how Christina was feeling, but she remained riled up. Ava had gotten away with far too much, so Christina made it clear that she'd feel better if Ava wasn't breathing. Christina also found out about the photos of Ava laying hands on her, so she convinced Sonny to let her look at them. Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Gran, overheard Sonny telling Christina that he'd take care of Ava, so she dragged him off for a private confrontation and warned him not to eliminate her. If Sonny took fatal action, it'd leave a stain on Christina's soul that she couldn't handle once the fog of grief cleared. Sonny understood the need to protect Christina, but he said Ava was his problem and that he'd take it from here. Michael also paid Christina a visit to share how sorry he was about the baby news. Christina pressured Michael to send the incriminating photos since he had copies, so he reluctantly texted them to her. That led to Christina staring at her baby bump in one of the pics and crying over the last time her baby was safe. Christina wished she hadn't confronted Ava, but Michael advised against dwelling on all the what-ifs. Afterward, Michael met up with Willow and asked if she'd be willing to talk to Christina since she'd experienced grief over losing a baby. In Heather Weber's, Allie Mills' room, she had a glum interaction with Elizabeth Baldwin, Rebecca Herbst, who filled Laura Collins, Jenny Francis, in on her sad mood. Laura tried to cheer Heather up with pictures of Ace Cassadine, Jay, and Joey Clay, and promised she wouldn't bring up anything about reopening her legal case again. However, it became increasingly obvious that Heather was buying into Scott Baldwin's Kin Shriner idea that maybe she could be free and make the company behind the faulty hip replacement pay. Later, Heather sought Elizabeth's help in contacting Scott and said to tell him that Heather's in. General Hospital spoilers say Heather will inevitably stir up more controversy with her actions, so we'll pass along more predictions on the trouble ahead. On Friday, August 9, Port Charles was buzzing with tension, secrets, and unexpected twists as the lives of its residents intersected in ways none of them could have predicted. At the center of it all was Drew Kane, who found himself in a perilous situation, while Sonny Corinthos faced a moral dilemma that could change everything. The day started off innocently enough, with Drew heading to General Hospital to visit Willow Tate, who was recovering from her recent health scare. Despite the difficulties they had faced, Drew and Willow had grown close, sharing a bond forged through their shared struggles and mutual determination to protect their loved ones. Drew's visit was supposed to be a simple gesture of support, but fate had other plans. As Drew stepped into the hospital elevator, the door slid shut with a soft chime. He hadn't noticed Willow, who had decided to take a short walk to clear her head, slipping in behind him just before the doors closed. The two exchanged surprised smiles, and Drew reached out to press the button for Willow's floor. Before the elevator could begin its ascent, however, there was a sudden jolt. The lights flickered ominously, and then, with a grinding noise that echoed through the narrow space, the elevator came to an abrupt halt. Inside the elevator, Drew and Willow exchanged worried glances. Drew pressed the emergency button, but there was no response. The silence that followed was deafening, filled only with the distant hum of machinery. Realizing they were trapped, Drew tried to keep the mood light, cracking a joke about how nothing in Port Charles ever went according to plan. But Willow could see the concern in his eyes, mirroring her own fears. Back on the ground floor, chaos ensued as the hospital staff quickly realized that one of their elevators was out of commission. The maintenance team was called, but it would take time to get the elevator running again. Meanwhile, Willow's heart rate began to spike, the confined space, and the fear of being trapped triggering her anxiety. Drew noticed her discomfort and gently took her hand, his presence a calming influence. "Just breathe, Willow," Drew said softly, his voice steady. "We'll get out of here. I promise." Willow nodded, trying to focus on his words instead of the growing panic inside her. She leaned against the wall, her thoughts racing. She couldn't afford to be stuck here, not with everything happening outside these walls. Michael, her husband, was out there, and their son Wiley needed her. But right now, there was nothing she could do but wait and hope that help would arrive soon. Elsewhere in the hospital, Sonny Corinthos was in a different kind of bind. Alexis Davis had cornered him, her expression a mix of frustration and concern. Sonny had been stewing over the recent events with Ava Jerome, his mind drifting toward darker thoughts. Ava's involvement in the chaos that had plagued his family was something he couldn't easily forgive, and the temptation to take matters into his own hands had been growing stronger with each passing day. But Alexis knew Sonny better than most. She could see the storm brewing in his eyes, the relentless urge to protect his family at all costs. And that was exactly why she had sought him out. "Sonny, you need to listen to me," Alexis said, her voice firm yet laced with empathy. "Whatever you're thinking of doing, you need to stop. Going after Ava isn't the answer." Sonny's jaw tightened as he stared at Alexis, his mind racing. "You don't understand Alexis. She's a threat to my family. I can't just sit back and do nothing. And what good will it do if you go after her?" Alexis shot back, her eyes locking onto his. "You think this will end well? You'll only drag yourself down, and your family will suffer for it. Is that what you want?" Sonny turned away, struggling with the weight of her words. Deep down, he knew she was right. But the anger, the need for retribution, was like a burning coal in his chest, fueling his every thought. Ava had crossed too many lines, and his instincts were screaming at him to take action. But Alexis's words echoed in his mind, forcing him to confront the reality of what he was considering. "This isn't just about Ava," Alexis continued, softening her tone slightly. "It's about you, Sonny. You've been down this road before, and you know where it leads. You have a chance to choose a different path this time." Sonny remained silent, his gaze fixed on a point in the distance. He could feel the weight of his responsibilities pressing down on him, the burden of being the protector of his family. But as much as he wanted to lash out, he knew that Alexis was right. His anger was a dangerous weapon, one that could destroy everything he held dear if he wasn't careful.